Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I am Dr. Kim Hyde, and I am very, very excited to present my research study. But before I do that, I'd like to unveil it in my beautiful package. My dissertation, my research. I'm so proud of it. I just wanted to have a visual for my presentation. This was a long journey, time well spent, and I'm very grateful that I was able to conduct this research. It was a 10-year process, and I am so grateful for my program, my chair, Dr. Janet Booker, my second committee member, Dr. George Gayton, and the URR, Dr. Judy Blando. I am so happy that they were so patient with me and I crossed the finish line, and I hope they're proud of me. The title of my study is Alternative Finance Strategies for Small Business Sustainability and Growth. Next slide, please. Just a little background for my fellow doctors and participant attendees. I am an entrepreneur. I'm 35 years. So I have lots of experience at business ownership, operations, management, and marketing, finance, fundraising, and just keeping it all together. And just to emphasize that this pandemic has absolutely triggered the phenomenon of entrepreneurship. My specialization when I entered into Walden in the DBA program is entrepreneurship. So I believe that I am a trailblazer, a trendsetter, and a forward thinker. I appreciated the keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Tom, and he brought to my attention the research study under curiosity-driven research. I love that. I love the term, I love the idea, I love the concept. It is fresh, it's new, and the next generation will embrace the term because it's very friendly and it's attainable. So without further ado, I'll begin with my problem statement. And as we know, small businesses rely on access to capital, financing. My general business problem is that leaders of small businesses do not possess strategies for accessing alternative financing opportunities. The specific business problem is that small business leaders lack alternative finance strategies to sustain and grow their businesses. The purpose of this qualitative multiple case study was to explore the strategies that some business leaders used to access alternative financing to sustain and grow their businesses. The study population consisted of 5 business leaders in Oakland, California, with successful experiences obtaining alternative financing to sustain and grow their enterprises. The significance of this study is that small business leaders, again, rely on access to capital for sustainability and growth. Equal access to financial capital is important. And just let me move this out of the way. There we go. Sorry about that. Again, Equal access to financial capital is important for small business survival, irrespective of geographic location, ancestry, gender, or industry sector. This qualitative multiple case study could add value to businesses by providing alternative finance options. Interestingly, theory and framework. The conceptual framework for this study is pecking order theory. It was developed by Donaldson in 1961, and it was popularized by Myers and Magaluf in 1984. The POT has its foundations in internal and external financing choices for the capital structure theory. Excuse me, from the capital structure theory. Next slide, please. Relevant scholarship, very important. The review of professional and academic literature comprised of critical analysis and synthesis of the POT. Capital structure strategies small business leaders employ. Information obtained from this review of literature may lead to a better understanding of how small business leaders access alternative finance successfully. The literature review contains an in-depth discussion of how firms choose between debt and equity financing. Next slide, please. The research question. And it took me a while to come up with something very concise, but eventually I determined that what alternative finance strategies do small business leaders use to sustain and grow their businesses? Just a very basic question. The procedures that I used was data collected were from semi-structured interviews, archival, organizational documentation, and physical artifacts. I also used the Yin's 5-step analysis process. It guided the data analysis. Participants, my participants, they were required to have managed or owned a small business for no less than 5 years, implemented successful strategies, and raised alternative financing within the 5 years. Participants had to be willing to articulate and share practical strategies they used to raise financial capital to sustain and grow their businesses, located in Oakland, California. I used data triangulation, member checking, document analysis, and I bracketed my biases using self-reflective analysis. Next slide, please. The findings of the study reveal practical real-world opportunities for the future leaders responsible for raising financial capital for their businesses. Themes that emerged in this study, which were very interesting, especially during the pandemic crisis. A, financing strategies of small business leaders. B, modification strategies used to improve financial effectiveness, strategies for overcoming financial constraints, and strategies to minimize the COVID-19 health crisis effects on small business sustainability. Next slide, please. The interpretations were basically was to minimize small business leaders ease of access to, maximize their ease to access to alternative financing. Many small business leaders do not use effective strategies to fundraise to increase their business sustainability. Small business leaders that use alternative financing strategies had effectively accessed traditional and non-traditional financing and reduced business failure. The limitations of this study was that the study was limited to just Northern California, San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area. And participants with time constraints limit their attention to detail of the questions asked during the interviews. And interestingly, during the interview process, COVID, the shutdown had occurred. I conducted my research in March, and we went into the lockdown, the latter part of March, April, and we were in a lockdown. So it was very difficult. It was really stressful because the original participants, they were afraid. Everybody kind of bailed out on me. I'm going off script now, but it was interesting. So I had to really dig deep in my entrepreneurial skills and really get smart and go into my Rolodex, and I had to come up with my participants very strategically, and I did. Business owners who I had counted on, they wouldn't return calls. Some, would return calls, and then they wouldn't answer my letters. So, but eventually I was able to garner 5 participants, and it was very interesting. Each interview was very interesting during the lockdown. And then I had to change my IRB application to fit the crisis mode, and that was to conduct the interviews via telephone. I didn't have the Zoom at the time, but it was via telephone, and it was okay because I had anticipated in person, but everything shifted. And being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to, move quickly and think quickly, and it worked out. So the recommendations are that small businesses were to maintain, what I found is that each business owner maintained, that I was able to interview, they had impeccable financial records. They were very organized, and they also had professional advisory to help lead them in their businesses, and that was each participant. And social change implications may provide business leaders with strategies to access alternative financing to generate revenues, which is the goal. Higher revenues may lead to more economic growth and the financial well-being of community stakeholders, which is very important in this time. More excellent wages may contribute to the prosperity of employees, employers, and communities. That is the goal. Business leaders can also commit a portion of profits. Now, this is revolutionary in this time, but it's something that we have to do in the sustainability move. And the keynote speaker mentioned that the United Nations have the 17-point goal to create a more sustainable globe. So business leaders can also commit a portion of profits for wellness products, such as group health insurance and future retirement incomes, to improve a peace of mind for all. Next slide, please. Oh, great. Well, I have the references if anyone wants to just review them. My research was very life-changing. Small business leaders especially during this crisis, they are struggling to make changes and adapt to the new world that we're in. But I find that the entrepreneurs, they're sharp, they're thinking quickly, and most small business owners are used to having to pivot and readjust and recreate and reinvent when things occur. So with that being said, thank you for taking your time out to hear my research. It was wonderful. I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to executing and applying my research and helping small businesses gain financial resources so that they can grow and sustain their businesses. So I want to thank everyone. God bless you all, and good luck with moving forward in 2021 and beyond. Thank you.